Pěkně zaplnila ta aula a myslím, že můžu prozradit i malou informaci ze zákulisí od organizátorů, že z hlediska registrací je tato konference jednou z nejúspěšnějších za poslední 2 roky a pro mě to je skvělý indikátor toho, že v akademické obci skutečně o toto téma je zájem. Já si myslím, že se mnou budete určitě souhlasit, že to je dobře. Je to téma migrace, migračních vln, současné migrační krize, je téma, které bez nadsázky si myslím hýbe celou Evropou. Ty ozvěny té migrační krize jsou cítit i mnohem dále, ale Evropa, potažmo Evropská unie tímto tématem v posledním roce bez nadsázky žije. A já jsem rád, ještě jednou to zopakuji, že i tady na akademické půdě má to téma takovou odezvu. Jsem rád proto, protože si říkám, kde jinde, než na akademické půdě, by měla být vedena diskuze o takto důležitých tématech. Zvláště v podmínkách České republiky, střední Evropy, kde ta diskuze o tom tématu má hned několik specifik. Jistě, když si děláte krátkou rešerši v informačních svých zdrojích, na informačních sdělovacích prostředcích, tak narazíte na celou řadu článků, tu více, tu méně kvalitních. Jistě jste již vedli nejednu diskuzi se známými, příbuznými, případně v různých kurzech na toto téma a jistě mi dáte za pravdu, že kvalita té diskuze mnohdy výrazně kolísá. Proto jsme si vytkli za cíl, když jsme tuhle konferenci dávali dohromady, že bychom měli nějaké soustředěné podobě do této diskuze přispět. Opravdu si myslím, že instituce jako Masarykova univerzita i skrze Mezinárodní politologický ústav je tím typem instituce, a já věřím, že mi dáte za pravdu, která by do této problematiky měla co nejvíce promlouvat. Zvyšovat kvalitu té diskuze, přinášet kvalitní argumenty do té diskuze, poskytovat fórum pro diskuzi, kde se nikdo nemusí bát přednést svůj vyvážený, řekněme, názor na problematiku nebo pohled. Samozřejmě v nejlepší tradici té akademické diskuze. To byl i ostatní náš cíl ve chvíli, kdy jsme dávali dohromady seznam hostů, který si můžete podívat v programech, které jste dostali k dispozici. Tím naším cílem, a já věřím, že se nám to povedlo, bylo sezvat dohromady zástupce institucí nebo obecně lidí, kteří se tou problematikou zabývají na různých úrovních, kde ta diskuze probíhá. Budeme tady tedy mít za moment zástupce ze země, která je vystavena asi největšímu tlaku v tom tématu v případě té migrační krize ze Spolkové republiky Německo. Budeme tady mít zástupce státní administrativy, kteří se potýkají s tou problematikou, řekněme, na té vrchní úrovni. Jsou tady zástupce neziskových organizací, kteří jsou jakýmsi spojovníkem mezi tou horní úrovní a tou úrovní individuální, tou úrovní dobrovolníků. Jejich zástupce tady dneska budou mít také, kteří mají ty zkušenosti doslova z první ruky. Já tady myslím, že určitě se máte na co těšit. Ještě než předám slovo dále, chtěl bych poděkovat opět nadaci Konrada Adenauera, díky níž můžeme pořádat tuto konferenci, stejně tak jako řadu dalších konferencí, že nám pomáhá v tom zvat na akademickou půdu řadu zajímavých hostů, nejenom v případě těch vysoce aktuálních témat, a že nám takto pomáhají. Dámy a pánové, ještě jednou vám moc krát děkuji za to, že jste se sešli v tomto počtu. Věřím, že celý ten program toho dnešního dne, včetně doprovodného programu studentské sekce Mezinárodního politologického ústavu, který následuje hned po skončení konference, že vás celý ten program zaujme. Ještě vám děkuji a předávám tímto slovo paní Aleně Resl, zástupkyni Konference Česká republika.
Dobrý den, děkuji vám. Děkuji vám za předání slova a také bych velice ráda poděkovala Masarykově univerzitě a našemu institutu za to, že jste jako vždy tuto konferenci velmi kvalitně připravili. My s vaším institutem spolupracujeme, už jsem se poprvé to skoro 20 let a musím říct, že za tu dobu jsme tady uspořádali mnoho zajímavých konferencí a vždycky se nám daří trefit se do těch témat, která jsou zrovna velmi žhavá a velmi aktuální. Myslím, že tomu dnes není jinak, čemuž nasvědčuje i ta velká míra zájmu o toto téma. Já bych vás tady chtěla přivítat jménem Konference, což je německá politická nadace, která je blízká CDU. A musím říct, že v poslední době, když člověk někam přijde a řekne, že je zástupce německé politické nadace a ještě k tomu nadace blízké CDU, tak vždycky se na něj svrhne neuvěřitelná smršť otázek, co tam ta Angela dělá, když ta Angela odejde, jak je to neuvěřitelné. A vlastně pro mě ty otázky jsou velmi zajímavé, protože mi ukazují několik věcí. Jednak vlastně nepochopení, co německé politické nadace dělají, a za druhé taky vlastně úplně odlišnou mentalitu. A to, že my dost často vlastně, protože myslíme jinak, máme jinou mentalitu, tak úplně nedokážeme analyzovat to, co se v tom Německu děje a co reálně může následovat. Ale ono to platí i naopak. Musíme si říct, že i v Německu, protože mají prostě jinou mentalitu, než třeba my tady ve střední a východní Evropě, tak dost často je pro mě problém vlastně pochopit, co se tady u nás děje a nějak kvalitně si to zanalizovat. A žijeme v Evropě na velmi malém prostoru, tady žije mnoho různých národů. A ono je to jako se sousedy. Když třeba žijete v paneláku a máte hodně sousedů, tak aby se vám tam dobře žilo, tak je jedna klíčová věc. A tou klíčovou věcí je komunikace. Opravdu mluvit spolu, jíst dialog, je naprosto normální, že prostě máme jiný nastavení, máme jiný názory, ale když už žijeme tak blízko sebe a musíme nějak existovat, tak je přece potřeba spolu mluvit a snažit se toho druhého pochopit a hledat nějakou cestu, jak to společně vyřešit. Protože to, co vidíme u té migrační krize, je, že žádná země, ani Německo, není schopná tuto výzvu vyřešit sama. To prostě nejde, protože ta výzva je moc velká. A proto my musíme spolu komunikovat a hledat nějakou cestu. A to je vlastně to, co my se i tady v České republice snažíme. To není úplně jako vysvětlovat názor Angely Merkelové, říkat, že jeden jediný a správný, tak to není. To, co my se snažíme, je prostě posadit ke stolu lidi s různými názory. To je důležité, vždycky dát tam ty lidi s různými názory, protože když posadíte ke stolu lidi, který si myslí to samý, tak jako o čem ta diskuze pak je, že to není žádná diskuze, to je přesvědčování přesvědčení, na tom vlastně má smysl. Takže to, co my se snažíme, je prostě dát vedle sebe lidi, kteří mají různé názory, a nechat je společně diskutovat, znášet své argumenty a hledat společná řešení. A já věřím, že díky této konferenci děláme takový malý příspěvek k tomu, aby se nám ta diskuze i tady v České republice trošku jakoby zkvalitnila, protože já dost často, když se dívám na různé konference, které jsou, tak tady vidím zástupce těch, kteří jsou strašně promigrační a ty pak mluví spolu, anebo naopak zástupce těch, kteří jsou jenom protimigrační a ty zase mluví jenom spolu. Ale je velmi málo akcí, kde opravdu by se ty názory střetávaly. A věřím, že dneska se nám podařilo udělat vyvážené složení těch řečníků a že nejenom si hezky povídáme, ale třeba najdeme i nějaká možná řešení. Takže ještě jednou vám děkuji a přeji vám zajímavou konferenci.
Já děkuji Aleně Resl za milá úvodní slova a nyní už přikročím k tomu, co nás čeká v této chvíli podle programu. Je to keynote speech doktorky Kristýny Krause. Možná jste si všimli, že tady není osobně, není to žádná organizační kvota, ale protože jsme moderní, jsme na moderní fakultě, tak doktorka Krause přednese svůj keynote speech skrze Skype. Takže já vás poprosím o chvilku strpení, pokusím se navázat spojení, které doufám proběhne. Migrace, can you see us?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us. It's a great pleasure to have you here, although not in person. I will not further delay this program, so without further ado, I'm giving the word to you, and the class is yours.
Okay, good morning everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's not in person, but let's make the best of it. I hope you have a great day and the program looks extremely interesting, and I really would like to be there with you. But today's a public holiday. My family is waiting outside. The kids want to go for outing, so I'm happy to be able to deliver a speech, to give perspective, and then later on to be able to go out and enjoy this holiday. I'm very glad that you're interested in the German perspective to the current situation, in order to evaluate what's happening now, what has been happening in the last year, where the situation culminated. It's important to go back, because I don't want to go back too far. I want to start to focus on the German history and politics after the Second World War, which was very much influenced, of course, by what happened during the Second War. And of course, you know that Germany built its huge ruins, and we are very much aware past when we were perpetrators, murderers, fully are aware of our responsibility also of what we did to many countries, to many people in Europe, what we did to our own people, what we did to a Jewish population. So what happened after 1945 was very much in the conscience of the past, the dark and negative past. It's important to keep this in mind. Migration, the silent art, of course, phenomena that, people have always been moving. The notion of national borders, that's, of course, a new and modern notion. The nation state is, of course, also a new notion. So before bridges were put up, set up over Europe, of course, people couldn't enjoy much freedom movement. And the idea of the European Union after 1945 very much also was delivered and was thought of by the founding fathers and mothers who had been in Europe before, who had known the good cooperation between universities all over Europe. The people did business and so on. But they have handouts. What I want to do with you today is, this morning, is take a look at the different groups of migrants since 1845, to have a look at the impact their coming to Germany, have a look at the legal background, then to turn to what was happening and is happening from former Eastern territories. So about 10 million displaced persons came to the Federal Republic of Germany in the first years after the war, and around 3 million refugees then from the German Democratic Republic. That was about 25% of the overall population.
Mrs. Krause, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Maybe we cannot see the presentation you were referring to. So if you can share your desktop, probably.
You can't see the presentation.
Yes, we cannot see the presentation.
Okay, that's clear. But do you have the handout by chance?
Yeah. So if you can turn on your presentation you're using right now. If you can share your desktop in the Skype program.
Okay. I don't have it uploaded here.
Okay, so never mind. I will distribute I will distribute it probably later. It will be better. So don't get bothered. So we will deal with it afterwards. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the introduction.
No, it's okay. Just come in anytime. I just want to make sure to give you a sense of the enormity that was happening. Of course, Europe during and after the Second Good Friday, everyone was in movement. There were forced laborers, there were people who were liberated and in population movements because the borders. I'm sure that not happened in the Republic as well, also then was split up. To give you the German perspective, 40 million were immigrated into the new Republic of Germany, and this is every fourth person came new to this territory, so it's 25% of the overall population that had to be taken care of, that needed workplaces, that needed housing, living, and so on. So the capacity that the new state had to demonstrate was enormous. But then, 10 years after the end of the Second War, we experienced what we call Wirtschaftswunder. The miracle of economic development that was speeding up. All of a sudden, we needed guest workers. And in 1955, the first agreement between Italy and Germany was made with Italy. So the first guest workers came to Italy, later on Spain, Yugoslavia, and Turkey again. And until 1973, when we stopped, we don't need guest workers anymore, the economy was declining. Around 1 million people came to Germany. People who did not know the language, did not know the culture, who were needed in factories, and the German government thought they will be here for a short time, temporarily, and then they will go back. So nothing, really absolutely nothing, was undertaken to include them and to integrate them. I talked to several children of these guest workers who later on had a chance to join their families, and they said we were put into guest worker children classes where they thought they could teach us only the minimum people had to know because the state thought that also the children's guest workers would fill the places in economy at the lower end. So unfortunately, the state didn't invest in welcoming these people and into integration. There was one smart author, Max said, well, there was a big misunderstanding. The government thought they were getting guest workers who would, deliver what they ate and then leave. But he said, in fact, you can stay. And of course, it's not everywhere. If you go somewhere, people, you develop your surrounding and you want to be part, not just of happening in the same place. after 1973, Germany dealt its great integration and what are we, are we an immigration country or not? And many people said we are not. We're a nation of ethnic Germans, but we don't think that anyone can come into our republic and become German. That only happened after the reunification of 1990. Back then, we had, after 1990, the reunification, a big group of ethnic Germans, mostly Spätaussiedler, who came in because the Germans really felt responsible for these people who during Nazi times also had a difficult time in the former Soviet Union states. They were persecuted, they were sent to camps and so on because of their ethnic belonging. So the Federal Republic of Germany, after the fall of the wall, the end of bipolarism, said wanted responsibility for these people and offered them again home. So in 1990s, we had 2,000 people coming in from former Soviet Union, and other states had this different ethnic belonging, often dating back hundreds of years. So a new group appeared, apart from the displaced persons in the first years of the because now we had the ethnic churches. And then, of course, as the EU was developing, we had the freedom movement, EU citizens, and also those numbers have been picking up extremely, which also has to, of course, the economic performance at the moment, the different EU member states. I told you that for a long time Germany was wondering, well, what are we now that we're unified? What are we? Are we an immigration country like the US, Canada, Australia? And the public said, during the 5 months, those nations are made of immigrants. But we understand each other as a nation that has its own culture and it's very open to, and very passive, of course. But nevertheless, we saw that migration was necessary phenomenon. We needed workers, and we also said we want to take up responsibility, not just for ethnic, but also a responsibility towards refugees. And in fact, the German asylum law developed a bit earlier than the international regulation, the 1950 Convention on Prevention. In the German asylum law, which is in Article 16 of basic law, it is stated that everyone who fears political persecution for political reasons shall be protected in Germany, no matter how they come to us. We never want any people, any individual, to be faced with the simplest situation of Jews or other we're faced with in Nazi Germany. We have a responsibility to protect people who are strong, who sometimes fight for democracy, human rights, also to protect those who are persecuted only for reasons of their difference, without their choice. So our asylum law it's at the beginning of our Constitution, it's one of the basic rights. And for many years, this asylum law stood out, and it was stronger also than the international regulation, the Geneva Convention. But then in the year 2000, we noticed, we have to go back in the 1990s, after the fall of the wall, of course, we also had the disintegration of Yugoslavia. Germany witnessed many civil war refugees. We had about 440,000 people in 1992, 1993, mainly from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, and so on. And that we noticed that our asylum law and the international regulation didn't fit the situation because these people didn't have an individual case, but they were suffering from the general level of violence and of course. And so in 1993 we had a so-called asylum compromise that narrowed the right to asylum by stating that they are safe third countries, they're safe countries of origin. But we didn't have a mechanism really to help those people fleeing from civil war. We did, everyone was preceded, everyone was interviewed the German asylum article, but it was hard for them to get this individual status and also proceeded according to the Geneva Convention, which is different, it's other. But also here, because as I said, people came from a Japanese situation of war and destabilization, they got this temporary status and not a real refugee status. I put a chart that shows the asylum claims in Germany from 1990 to 2015. And it shows you the peak in 1992 when got so many civil war refugees from Yugoslavia, and then it shows a steep decline, which on one hand reflects the situation in Europe and in the world, and conflicts in our surrounding were less. We thought in those times that democracies were come forward that they were the future model and that peace, global peace, be a chance. And in those times we developed also the European asylum system. And of course we implemented the system Dublin, saying that that country which a person who seeks for asylum enters first, the European Union will be the country that also proceeds to pay. And that in fact is also in charge of taking care of this person. That worked out fine until, let's say, 2012, 2013, when we had, of course, conflict that would develop all around us. We didn't just have the crisis of crime and war in Ukraine starting, we had the Migrace working, and we had the war in Syria that later on affected other countries. Before that, of course, we had the war in Afghanistan, but here the numbers of asylum seekers coming to Europe are support. But in fact, what happened in 2012, many people were coming, crossing the central Mediterranean and entering Italy. Italy at those times called the European Union, the member states repeatedly, saying that they need help in a situation and that solutions need to be found, because they didn't want the Mediterranean to turn into an ocean parallel bed. You've probably also seen pictures of the boats that are hardly able to ship to go anywhere, that are crammed with people, sometimes thousands of people on one of these old boats running, and they are left to the mercy of the ocean, and the Italian government felt it was necessary to help. They created the Mare Nostrum help or aid incentive when they went out to rescue many people. happened was there in Italy. They didn't really have capacity in place to proceed with silent planes and so on. So people sort of kept migrating onwards, going to countries where they felt they had a prospective chance to live. And in last year, of course, we had the greatest influx from Turkey to Greece, amounting to, in the spreadsheet, we have numbers in 2015, 885,000 people who came from Turkey to enter Greece. And then continued via the Western Balkan, which I'm sure also your country was affected by. So let's see, I think in German perspective, our different groups also are discussions on who we are. These are very legitimate questions. What makes a nation, basic people, who should belong, who should be granted citizenship, and so on. We have groups at the beginning who were Germans. We had to take care of them, then these humanitarian oversight seekers, gathered groups of first enslaved who we didn't take care of at all. And in 2000, the year 2000, we developed a green crisis for high quality, just that on the international market, we weren't competing well. I mean, people highly qualified, they didn't want to come to Germany. They had better options in the US and the UK and so on. And that was definitely finished. But it's an issue. People, of course, in other countries felt that they could achieve much more, much faster, and they could be integrated as well, much faster into German society. So let me quickly come to the last point. The wounded who with globalization, as Wolfgang Schäuble calls it. So already in 2014 was years bulletins. UNHCR, High Commissioner of the UN for Refugees, calculated that almost 6 million people were forcibly displaced with war. But these groups who had about 20,000 refugees, they had 83,000 returnees and almost 2 million asylum seekers. That was 2014. Last year, it's doubled. But I think it's interesting that in UNHCR summed it up and says, if these 95.5 million persons, almost 60 million persons per nation, it would make up the 24th richest in the world. And I'm sure that this nation, if you would imaginatory nation, that's probably at 100,000 now. So there are many people who are forcibly, those are the people who are forcibly displaced, not the people who are willing to risk a lot because from the better perspective that these people are living in conflict and devastation. And these are people who the international community is obliged to help. And at least in Germany, we feel that obligation is strong. Because as being in the past, having public visa, we know that someone has to be there in the child, and definitely we also feel this obligation from our historical and also our Christian. So 2014 was the year of superlatives. More people on the move than during times at the end of the Second World War. So this world is what we say, Austin. I mean, it's not, don't have stability, don't have the hope we had 50 years ago that democracy was going to be the system that would people predicted this day. I have another chart that says that the greatest amount is being taken up and cared for by Turkey, followed by Pakistan, Lebanon, Iran, Ethiopia, Jordan, Kenya. So there's no European country 2014 who carried the burden. Europe and the rich Western countries, they didn't even support UN agencies like World Food Program, UNHCR, for them to be able to facilitate taking care of people. I mean, not just rich countries weren't even able to help these international agencies to deliver. I'm not talking about schooling or apprenticeship, giving people in refugee camps a chance to learn a skill, to school. No, I'm talking about food and shelter. So in 2014, not the minimum, the Western world, we didn't take care, and also Germany didn't give enough to take care of people. Those countries, Turkey, Pakistan, Lebanon, Iran, Ethiopia, Jordan, who themselves had a difficult time, and were taking in many people who forced migrate. We didn't even ensure they had help. So that kind of the impulse that the people in the camps took and live in Turkey, they felt that they had perspectives there. They couldn't even, feed the family, take care of the minimum. So people did have still enough money. I mean, Syria wasn't a poor country, it was educated, it had stability. People had earned their living, it's not a developing country, it had a strong middle class as well. So people still had capacity. Yes, they went to Africa and human smugglers, they would pay 3,000, 5,000, maybe at some point 3 people to cross the gate and to Greece. And Greece at that time was struck by the crisis. And the Greek politics was always also, but at least from people's and laissez-faire. We're not hindering people to move so they can just continue. So the combination of the extreme international situation of conflict, destabilization, grouped the situation in the rich West, didn't really bother about what was going on, didn't really bother about helping countries that were taking up so much of the burden. I mean, the people just went on. And I think I would have done the same, to be honest. Maybe everyone can ask the same question. So of course, I mean, in Germany we fight. Some people say the situation wasn't foreseeable, others say of course it was foreseeable. I think it was foreseeable because we have numbers, the pressure to leave camps and to move on at the same time, pull factors of getting stronger. So in 2015, most every member states with the rise of asylum applications, and for me it's to keep different groups that say there are people who leave because they have no option, they don't have a home anymore, there's war, if they have to fight. I think also a human right to say I'm not going to fight. And to make a difference with people who move for economic reasons, which of course is also a good reason to move, but here we don't need international protection. We need to protect the people from smuggling and trafficking, and I think that is something that the current EU Turkey agreement aims at. It's not perfect, it's one of the possible solutions. And this is where I would like to end. I'm very happy to get your questions empowerment and thank you for listening to the German perspective. I'm also eager to hear about your own perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Krause, for your speech, and now I give the floor to our audience. We encourage you to pose a question. I think there were definitely interesting moments considering the German perspective. So please, if anyone has a question, just raise your hand. I will pass the microphone. So probably I will start with the first question to get people warmed up. If you can comment a little bit on the reactions and the sentiment, the mood in the German society, first as it was presented from the very beginning, and what was the real state. So how the mood developed regarding the migration crisis since, say, spring 2015 until now.
Okay. Well, the sentiment, I'm sure that you can also see in your video reporting. When the German public in the summer months, when we had 15,000 people arriving at our borders a day, and the German public found out from politics, of course, also by seeing that government couldn't cope, because this was just so much at once. People just rushed, and everyone tried to help people. And about every eighth citizen got involved, and they are still staying. Although some of the efforts, were in vain, and some of the experience wasn't good. And I remember, for example, a group of ladies, they wanted to cook for refugees, and they didn't pay attention to the issue that in Muslim countries you don't eat pig pork. So, this cultural experience in some situations led to disappointment, but also learning started. And every eighth person that really got involved. Every community, every city just felt the situation. We have to with this, we have to help, and government can't have to look. And civil society is very happy to just enhance and build the other side of all of this. And I think it's amazing that this high level of commitment is continued, and we do have on the other side also groups that present the fear in society, fear of too many people who come. Who are those people? Are they good people? Are they people who just who are dangerous for us? Who might become violent? This fear exists as well, and we can't ignore it. We have to deal with it. But most of the people I talk to who've worked in helping to send these people to find a place to also give a sense of being welcome, haven't experienced negative things, and they're very excited. It's a nice chance for Germany to be able to help. Maybe I can also say that in the past years, things have changed a lot in Germany. We were struggling with our immigration country a lot, and then in 2005 we had Zuwanderungsgesetz, and I would just believe it. Zuwanderungsgesetz, because it's not the immigration law, it's Zuwanderung, and people today don't even notice that that is now Migrace are national heroes. They have migration background. In fact, every fifth citizenship today is maybe that's also why people are still so engaged and want to help.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer. Now, time for another questions from the audience. If there are any? Yeah, there was one.
Thank you. So my question would be that what was found lacking in the beginning was the structures that could accommodate these people, and especially in the countries who, according to Dublin, would have to process them, which would be the countries on the border of the European Union. So how has this been dealt with, or is it just in the sense of Germany and placement of migrants in Germany? What is the system that you use?
I had a really hard time acoustically to get that.
Oh, sorry. So let me put it plainly. The placement of migrants, is it what kind of structures do you use, and the integration that follows? Because I presume that keeping them just separated in these migrant groups would not be positive for the future. So how do you deal with that in Germany?
Okay. That's a very good question. We have 30 years, I believe, a key for the distribution of asylum seekers. So I'm just talking about asylum seekers now. The other migrants who come for economic or family reunification or other study reasons here in the country, but we said we want to have a key in place to distribute asylum seekers according to the wealth and the capacity and capabilities of our land. We have 16 small states and the wealthier ones that Baden-Württemberg and Bayern, they take in bigger groups than the poor cities, city-states like Hamburg or some of the eastern new land. But at the moment, we're experimenting a lot. We try, of course, to have people not in segregated areas, but as groups and the influence was so great, we did also bring them and build shelters in gymnasiums, in the sports halls. We did also here, and then we had our biggest air temple. Some of the space there also was used as shelter. In the beginning, tents were set up there. But this was because the influence was so enormous. Usually we try to have them really integrated and not even separated. But this is according to the capability. So more people came to Finland, in fact, should have to this Königsschneider this key distribution, but most of the people simply wanted to be in because they felt they had chances here. But still, we are experiencing. For example, Hamburg is trying a model where they want to have members of one ethnic community together in one place, but other areas of communities are trying to disperse them to dimension private households and so on. So because the numbers were so high, we did many different things at the same time, and just now studies have been written and published that show the effects of these different ways, and that show the good and bad practice. So there are arguments for both.
Thank you for this response. We have some more questions regarding the issue. Yeah, that's one.
You spoke about the fact that the distribution goes according to how rich the part of the land is actually. So what would be your estimation of the difference between the West and the Eastern Germany. How much would Eastern Germany take compared to the western part of the land? Would be a significant difference?
I also added we were talking also about the distribution and please
If you would compare the western part of Germany and the eastern part, would there be a significant difference in distribution? Would there be significantly more in the west than in the east?
Yes, there is significantly more in the west, but because those are also the areas that are economically stronger and population-wise, they have more capacities there. So yeah, this is all in the internet. You can find it easily. The distribution key is called Königsteiner Schlüssel, and I'm sure you can easily find it. If not, ask our office, and I can help out with that. But the problem we had last year, as we had so many people entering, was that we weren't able to register everyone straight away, and noticed that because of our federal system, many of the entities have had different systems. So what our current government did was to introduce one single system. Imagine we didn't have that. I mean, that's something we're looking for in Europe now, but we didn't even have it in Germany. Different systems registrating the information that they were gathering, and also different computer-based software systems. So they weren't compatible. But this is something our government did now, was in order to get numbers and to get information and to stop people from moving around, because that's what also still had happened. So in past years, we built up many capacities, and we conducted many reforms. There were 2 reforms of our asylum system, and the third one now we're going to, this summer, pass law on integration. So a lot has been done, and probably a lot is going to be continued, especially on EU level. Because, as I said in the beginning, the perspectives of Greece and Italy are different from our perspectives, or even the perspective of France or the UK. And we have to try to find ways of, dealing with this topic.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have other questions? Sure.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you for your speech, and I'd also like to ask you how does Germany plan to gather resources for providing all of those migrants, even those yet to come? For there has been an argument about states having obligation to their citizens in the first place, and how do you secure that their well-being is not threatened by the situation? Thank you.
You're talking about the money and the obligations of the state and the
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Well, we're in a very comfortable situation at the moment. Our economy is booming. Our unemployment rate is great. Unemployment rate is extremely low. So I don't know how the situation would have been if we were in 1973. We would clearly also have the same obligations. We would feel them. But the country history and the experiences change the country. So in last summer, what our government did straight away was to say to the Länder, and of course also to the smallest entities, the villages and cities, which are very ideal, with migrants and refugees and so on, and they said, don't take our money. Okay, we don't want to start to become an issue of money. So we're going to make sure that we have enough money to deal in a good way with this. And because we had extra money, this money wasn't taken away from any other area. I'm sure things have been difficult. With 1 million migrants net, it became additionally, I mean, people last year left and people came in, but it would have been difficult if our central state government wouldn't have been able to say, don't worry about money. And that saw that this problem had to be dealt with straight away.
Thank you for your answer. Time for another question. Okay, if there isn't any more question, let me express many thanks for your speech, for your contribution to the conference. We very much value the opportunity to have a speaker presenting the position from the German perspective. Thank you very much for joining us, although I said not in person. Thank you very much, and I think we should give you a big applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the interest, and have a great day. Have a great conference.
Thank you, it was a pleasure.
Bye.
Takže to byl úvodní příspěvek dnešní konference doktorky Krause. Podle programu, další na programu je první panel, který začíná zhruba za 20 minut, takže do té doby se můžete osvěžit, občerstvit během coffee breaku a za nějakých 20 minut budeme tady opět pokračovat první panel. Děkuji.